What's going on, everyone? Spring break is finally here. That means I can actually catch up on some recording. I don't have to worry about classes. Gives me a good chance to make a bunch of videos. That way I can have them stacked up to actually be uploaded at a consistent time. So today, I guess on my ride home, I'll talk about the V6 that I owned before the Cobra. I've mentioned it a couple of times, and I guess I'd just fill y'all in on what it was like to own it. Should you buy one? Also, what was done to it. I bought the 2011 Mustang V6. And this was my first manual car. So I drove it all the way from Lynchburg, Virginia, back to Richmond, and that is, let's see, a two and a half hour drive, I think. Might be a little bit more than that. But I drove it all the way back, and basically taught myself manual on the way home. Now I learned somewhat in a Porsche 944 that one of my buddies had and let me, drive every now and then. But it was, I never took it out on the road, and I never got out of like third gear when I drove the 944. So driving the V6 back was a really, really interesting experience. It's funny because I never stalled the car. It had a stage 1 clutch in it, matching flywheel, and full bolt-ons. I never stalled the car, at least on the drive back. Even though it was a very hard clutch, it was pretty forgiving. I mean, it had a nice little nice little catch point right at the top, and once you hit it, I mean, it was instant. The Cobra is nothing like that. I mean, it's a nice, soft, linear clutch. It doesn't have any hard catch points, so it's easier to drive. But it was really, really interesting trying to learn how to drive that thing, especially that being my first real manual car. So, list of mods. It had JLT cold air intake, BBK 73mm throttle body, Excel coil packs, ported upper and lower intake by, I believe it's Lone Wolf. The clutch was a stage 1 with a matching flywheel. It had BBK long tube headers, BBK catted X-pipe, and also had a catless X-pipe that I had on there for a good while. Flowmaster mufflers were on there at first, and then I switched it to Borla Attacks, which sounded amazing. That thing would pop and crackle every time you decelled. And to me, it was just one of the best sounding exhausts for a V6, ever made. It had a one-piece aluminum drive shaft, 373 gears. The suspension was done up a little bit and had upper and lower control arms, a panhard bar. I put front and rear aftermarket sway bars on there, and then took the front off because I was drag racing the car. It had strange 10-point adjustable shocks. It had 5 tunes that I bought for it. I started off with Bama from American Muscle. that one, I don't know, it was doing some weird stuff to it, and I didn't particularly like it. And then I switched to a custom tune from a guy in Richmond. His name is Kevin Adolph. He works in the EFI Performance Building, tuning pretty much Fords and I believe BMWs, and he does a bunch of stuff. But he's a really good tuner. I switched from his to MPT, not because MPT was really better, but I wanted to get a cam tune for it, which a cam tune makes it sound like your car is cammed. And for V6 to have that, and for it to have the exhaust that it did, it would make some V8s just ashamed, honestly. Because some people would walk by the car when it was on, idling and camming, and they'd look at the badges, because it had 3.7 badges on it. They'd look at the badges and be like, why do you have V6 badges on a V8? I'm like, it's a V6. And then I'd pop the hood and they'd be surprised as hell, which I liked a lot. I liked the attention that thing got, because nobody expected it to be a V6. With all of the modifications that were on there, I was able to run a 13.6 quarter mile, which I believe I mentioned in the first video. A 13.6 quarter mile on street tires, which is the first time, I was ever at the drag strip. Then a 13.2 on radials, which that was the first time I was ever on radials. I knew the car had so much more potential, but I wasn't able to really mess with the tire pressure or anything like that. Mainly because a GT500 wrecked right in front of me. He hit my wall, then he went back over, hit his wall, then came back over and hit my wall. It was very eye-opening. The first owner of the car ran a 12.6 in the quarter mile, and that's who did most of the mods to the car. But yeah, he pretty much set that thing up to run the best that it could. So why would I get rid of a naturally aspirated V6 that could run in the 12s? Well, it didn't have the potential that I wanted from it. Should you buy a V6 compared to a GT? Well, I'd say if you can afford the GT, get the GT. If you can't afford it, don't try to push it and all that. Just get a V6. You'll be happy. You'll be happy with either choice, and you can't go wrong, honestly. Now, a stock V6, that's going to be a little bit disappointing, at least until you get a tune and some exhaust. But other than that, it's an amazing car. V6s of that generation make amazing power, and they can keep up with V8s of the previous generations. I know with my car, I was running 4.63 valves all day. I know I ran a 4.62 valve, of course. That ended badly for me the first time I raced them, because I was on street tires and he was running NOS and drag radials. So, but the second time I raced him and all that, you know, I blew his doors off. So it could keep up with 4.6s and all that. So honestly, it's a great car to have. If you're looking for a daily driver and you're not looking to do much to it, definitely get a V6. If it's your first car, V6 all the way. And the reason I say that is it gives you a chance to get used to the horsepower. Not saying you can't do that with the GT, but it lets you have more fun and push the limits more without you fucking up as bad. Alright, thank you everyone for watching. Please like, subscribe, keep coming back for more videos. I plan on putting them out consistently, you know, during spring break and after spring break. That way I can get a good consecutive schedule in for everything to upload. Go follow my Instagram at Jep Drives and like my Facebook page at Jep Drives again. Just show your support, comment if you have any ideas for any videos, or if you have any recommendations for how I shoot the videos, and just leave some love, you know. Alright, thank you everyone, and take it easy.